Hi, guys.
Hi guys.
Today we're talking about free will. So, some may call it the higher self or our oversoul, but our free will is the soul's satellite. And is the soul and the free will are the two entities that have to come together before conception, before the creation of the human body.
The nucleus of it is intention, and the function of it is permission. Those are two very important things to understand, that we can't do anything without free will permission of its intention, which is like in the nucleus of it.
Yeah.
Before we even start, I just want to make a remark.
Sure.
Everyone strongly believe in something, so it's not coming from a free will. I want to make sure and stretch out that it's not coming from a free will, from their free will, a belief. The belief is coming from an opinion strongly supported by an emotion or emotions. Okay, the strongly believed, and whoever strongly believe in something, this is the theory of the phrase "be yourself." It has nothing to do with free will. I want to just be clear about it. Be yourself is nothing to do with know thyself. It has nothing to do with the free will, and is very misunderstood and in constant conflict with your free will, because it's an emotion. It's on an emotion side.
Well, yeah, you look at religion, you look at politics, you look at all these things that they're pushing a belief system on people and driving it by stories that trigger your emotions. And when you trigger people's emotions like that, you're pulling them away from possibly what their free will has already decided for their body. I mean, a lot of the free will decisions are made before our physical body is aware of it.
Yes.
Because it's a completely separate entity.
Yes. Well, let's actually kind of start.
Okay. So the first component, prime component of free will is the power of decision.
The power of decision is like you just said. The free will decides for us.
Mm-hmm.
Even, I mean, Dan is gonna, yeah, we're gonna make a decision from whatever our thought process, information process with our brain is gonna come up with. It's like, oh, look, I came up with something.
Yeah.
And but the free will decides for us. The free will is actually the entity that constructs our physical body after conception inside the mother womb.
Yeah.
It selects everything that is close to the absolute truth in the soul. Selects all kind of DNA, all kind of cells, all kind of to just physically construct our physical body. And it has a limited, obviously, you just have two, one person to start selecting from all the genes and everything is the mother. It's a little more complicated because the free will can make decisions to actually pick up from the environment, the outside environment. They actually is able to do that too. So depends of who the pregnant woman is associated with at that time. The fetus, the child, will have some of that interference. It's called mirror neurons and all that, but we're gonna go with that later on, the body and brain. So the power of decision within the free will, very, very important, because it works. The free will, we have to note that the free will is the hardest entity out of all entities that form our body.
It's density.
It's density. It has a high density. It's like a diamond. Okay.
The second component is the power of choice.
That's where we interfere with the free will and give it all kinds of choices. The free will is telling us that I already made the decision. So yeah, the power of choice, we have a little bit of influence into it.
The third one is power of inspiration.
The power of inspiration is that aha moment.
Mm-hmm.
That is like, oh, look at me, what I was thinking of, or what I invented, or something. It's already been invented. It's already been known by the free will.
Mm-hmm. Another thing I think of when I think of inspiration is, they talk about certain uh, religious books being inspired by the breath of God. So inspire is like God breathed, if you think about it. So this is a God breathed free will that He's given us to.
Yeah, they communicate. Our free
Right.
will with our creator free will, and they are communicating. So it's a lot of free will entities out there.
Yeah.
It's not, we have a separate one, a unique one for us that our soul has selected and attached to it, and going through the universe. We're going to talk about the soul travel into the universe and everything later on. But that the two companions go through the soul and free will go through the universe to actually become a human.
Yeah.
At the end, or any other celestial being.
Right.
They have to have some soul and a free will too.
The fourth component is the power of intuition.
This is a tricky one because it involves the genders. Mm-hmm. And women has 28 times more intuition than men. It has to do with offsprings and all that. So women has to have
survival.
It has to do, yeah, with survival, and most of it is not only survival, but I mean, it is survival, but it's protection.
Yeah.
Women are not as strong. They have to protect. They literally understand when the man lies better than the man when they lie. So they had that intuition.
Yeah.
And in the Middle Ages, they called that what? The witch hunt or something? Because of their intuition. It wasn't.
They've always feared women because of our intuition.
Yeah, and they call it witches, but that wasn't that.
The fifth prime component of the free will is the power of instinct.
Instinct, we're going to talk about the instinct when we're going to talk about the body also, and the gut brain. We're going to elaborate on that. A major thing, because that's what the instinct is. It's a big difference between intuition and instinct, because the intuition is a power of our free will, and it has to do a lot with gender. But instinct doesn't have anything to do with gender, and is called the gut brain. We have that. Men and women had that little brain in the gut.
Yeah. When you get that gut feeling, it's like, oh.
It's more like information than it's the feeling, but yeah.
But that's what people call a gut feeling.
I just want to make sure that those two are like separate, understood separate. In intuition and instinct, they're two different things. One is coming strictly from the free will, and one is collaborating from the free will with the body. Well, it's always collaboration, but it's more like inside the body. Intuition is more outside of the body. Is more connected to the free will than the body. Instinct is more connected to the body than the free will, but it's also a free will power.
Right. Number 6 is the power of integrity.
Okay. Now
Leann. It gets fun. So integrity, when people think of integrity, I think a lot of times it's thought of, like your honor, your being honest about something in a way, but that's really more connected to the ego when we're talking about honor and our moral values. Those are more part of our ego because it's something that's imposed on us.
And we talk about that ego later on.
Yeah, the ego is the seventh entity of the human body, so we'll definitely go through that when we get to that episode. We'll go into that a little bit more, but the integrity that we're talking about here for free will is around soundness, completeness, oneness. It's the quality or state of being complete and undivided. So if you think of integral in Spanish, for example, pan integral would be bread, like whole wheat bread. So it's a whole thing. It's unity. That's the unity part that people are tapping into, I think, right now.
It's also the connection to the nucleus of the soul.
Mhm.
It's holding everything together to an absolute truth,
Mhm.
to your own self.
Yeah, absolute truth is the nucleus of the soul, and everything gets stuck to that as you build out all these bodies.
So now the word of know yourself is
Know
being
thyself.
so relevant.
Yes.
Yes. Anyway,
So the seventh prime component of the free will is the power of promise.
free will keep its promise no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you start logically thinking, meaning with your psyche and everything, with your ego, and you start even lying, sometimes you're still going to keep your promise because free will go in to direct you to the promise that you made. And it's going to be really hard to just redirect that. You have to. That's why lies are not good, because always the truth come up.
Always.
Yes, because you already know inside what's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much like a promise to the free will that you already know.
Well, promise is very powerful. My mom always said, don't ever make a promise if you're not serious about it. So you have to be very careful with your promises. But if you do make a promise, your free will is going to take over and direct you in that direction. Like we've talked about before, somebody's going off to war and he promises he'll be back. His free will is going to help drive that promise home and bring him home.
It will protect him.
Exactly.
Yes.
So this is, another layer of protection for all of our bodies.
Most of the soldiers, the one to war and promised to their sweethearts, "I'll promise you, I'll be back." Mm-hmm. They came back. Mm-hmm. It's just amazing the way they're being protected, and it's.
So that leaves us with the last one, which is the power of permission.
This is a tricky one, because this has influence on our free will with all the symbols and writings and spellings and all kinds. Mm-hmm. Now, to make myself understand, the power of permission is very irritable too. Because if somebody gives you advice, suggestions, or anything, some sort of suggestion or advice, without even offering to help without your permission, is very irritating. And I know everybody knows that, like an old woman breaking a bag of apples and someone just starting helping her and picking up the apples to help her, like, and she would be like, I don't want you to help me, because she feels threatened because she didn't give the permission to that person to help her. So it's very intrusive to the free will of an individual.
Or like a child shoving food in his mother's face. It's very intrusive in my free will. I don't want to eat what he's giving me.
yes. Certain things like that the power of permission is very important.
Yes.
What's most important is if you really want to help someone or give advice to someone, or you just don't be intrusive. Just ask, do you want help? Do you need help? And people will tell you yes. Once they say yes, it's give you permission, obviously.
Well, this is going back to that, awareness generates ethics, which is consideration for others.
It's so intertwined with the soul, of course. And is now a very, very important thing about the power of permission. A certain group of people on this earth is influencing and get your permission without even you knowing, through symbols and spelling words.
And the meanings of words they have twisted into mean other things, and
That's
a
called a
lot of,
spell.
yes, and it's distracting people from what the truth is about the meaning of these words. I mean, we're seeing it all over the place, consciousness and awareness and conscious and consciousness, and all these different words that people are using strangely where they should have. Awareness is awareness. Consciousness is
They
generates
associate
life.
yeah, but they associate consciousness with conscience,
Well,
which
yes,
conscience, yes, is a logical thinking, is part of the ego, is part
right.
of another entity. But consciousness has nothing to do with the logical thinking of conscience. Going back to what I said, some group of people getting your permission through symbols, it's so easy because if they put symbols out, movies, songs,
Yeah.
with images or sound, all that kind of stuff, by just you looking at them, you give them the approval of your permission.
And we don't even realize it.
We,
That's the scary part is
yeah,
we've got to be aware. Awareness is key to all of this, is being aware of these things that
even if you are aware, you don't realize that you actually do it.
right, yeah.
That's the scary part.
You can look at something 17,000 times and one day you see something totally different that you never saw before.
Yes.
And nothing has changed about it. It was always there.
Because you're getting upgraded on your awareness.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, hang on a second. Hold
Exactly.
on. What's going on here? But yes, they're taking advantage of humanity right now because they're getting their permission, human permission, through uh, just posing, like out there, um, what they wanted to do or what you wanted to hear, and they just get your permission that way. You only have to look or hear,
yeah,
or read, and that's it. It's over. You have given them the permission.
Yeah.
And that they cannot hide it. They cannot do, because they're higher entities in the universe,
yeah,
free will entities.
Well, they have to tell us what they're doing.
That's why they have to. Otherwise, they would do it in so much secrecy. Yes. You had no idea what's hidden. What you had no idea what's
hidden intentions.
Yes, that's again. So the power of permission is it's a very powerful tool.
Yeah.
If it's used, especially if it's used malevolently, but even if it's used to benefit somebody, just out of your own good of your own heart, to help somebody without their permission, is very irritable.
Yeah, it's intrusive.
It's intrusive, yes. So it's kind of concluded for today's free will entities. We're gonna have a lot more talk. We just put this in here as an episode. So when we're gonna generally talk about all the integration of everything,
we can refer back to previous episodes,
exactly,
so that people have more context.
More context. What is that?
Exactly.
And because we're gonna,
and if we need to explain something further, please leave us comments. We would love to have everyone join the conversation. This is not a one-sided approach. So
this is not a monologue.
We're
this
all
is a dialogue,
growing and expanding.
And
so
on top of everything, when we're gonna structure the meaning, that's when I want everybody. I hope everybody's gonna get involved in our conversation about the meaning of everything.
Yeah.
The integrity versus integral, and I don't know, consciousness versus conscious, the meaning of everything. What exactly do they mean?
Yeah.
Because language itself has a meaning. You can say that you are not a woman because you decided one day to not be a woman, or I decided one day to be a woman. It's just weird.
Yeah.
It is.
We are who we are, and we must tap into ourselves.
I even heard somebody said that genders are decided once you're born.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he didn't think that that's because of the birth certificate
Yeah.
decides our gender, because our gender is already decided, as we told in.
Our free will decides our gender.
No, it's on a soul. It's in the soul.
Well, yeah,
second layer is the gender.
Yeah.
It's already decided
It's
before even
yeah.
conception.
All chemicals.
Yes, all the chemicals that it has to activate the certain
Gender
chemicals
activates all chemicals, male
for the free will to pick up the specific chromosomes for this, to build that
sex,
to build a fetus. And for the specific sex, it picks up lots of XX chromosomes, then XY chromosomes, and it's all that,
Yeah.
everybody knows. I don't have to explain the biological way of
I don't know.
forming of a fetus.
Some have made some other comments lately. I'm not so sure
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah. Well, no, they do it.
I know.
And
It's
again,
all narrative.
they do it because they try to influence your power of permission.
Yeah.
That's why they do it. Trying to put it out there to just say, I got your permission now because you heard it.
Yeah.
And
it's ridiculous what's going on right now.
It's very intrusive.
Very extremely.
Intrusive. Yeah.
It's definitely irritating a lot of people.
Well, of course, because it has no meaning anymore.
Yeah.
And language is, by definition, a meaning of something.
Yeah.
To understand each other through a meaning.
Yep.
And we'll talk about that later in our episodes. And
our next episode is going to be about the physical body, so stick around for that one. It will be out shortly, and let us know if y'all have any questions. Anything else you want to add, Ion?
No, I just want to say thank you so much, guys, for listening to this. It's very important. It is going to become very important, not now, but after all this crap that's going on around the world right now. Everybody's going to go through some sort of a spiritual reset.
Yeah.
And I hope they're going to come back in here, listen, and communicate with us. And maybe they have their own way of looking at things, because we don't try to change perception.
Right.
And we don't try to help because that's intrusive in their power of permission.
Yeah.
But we're trying to put out crumbs for them to for everybody else to actually hang on to something. Hang on, guys.
If it feels true to your absolute truth.
To your soul.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hang on there. We'll do it. We'll deal with this.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day. We'll see you on our next episode about the body here shortly.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.